Bearcat Bounce Podcast. Back at it again. Hey guys, happy Monday. Happy Monday because we are here and it's Monday and we have friends and we have the ability to sit down and talk together and converse, and it's Monday and we're together. But it's also Monday following a rough game, a rough set of games, a rough stretch of games, if you will, for the basketball team. We're going to have to talk about that. And, of course, it's also a Monday following kind of the culmination, the wrapping up of the transfer portal for the football side of things. I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. But it's a Monday that I'm happy. I'm joyous because I get to spend it with the pals, the guys, the noogies, the friends, if you will. So without further ado, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer, gentlemen, how are we?
Been better. It's not a great feeling in Bearcat land right now. So hopefully get things turned around here starting Wednesday night. And if not, I don't know. I might have an illness next Monday. My shoulder's been a little sore. That might keep me from podcasting.
Same here, man. It's been real achy. Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious who Brent, what relative.
Oh, now Aaron, we already shut Aaron up.
Brent has in the championship.
Nice. He said what relatives Brent has in the championship. Well, actually, that is funny you bring that up. I'm currently in Columbus, Ohio, the land of the Block O, as Mr. Royer would know. And boy, oh boy, I'm walking around with Notre Dame gear on.
Suck on Bill USA.
Hey man, I went to the Notre Dame IU game. Come on, I've got some Irish blood. My friends actually went to the Notre Dame Georgia game in New Orleans, and inside of their suite was one John Bon Jovi. How about that? So,
wow.
Bit of a connection to the Irish, if you will. But yeah. So no show next Monday. We'll talk about that later on the pod. We'll let you know kind of what we're gonna do. But if they win both games, then there will be a show.
Yeah, we're gonna have a show at 8:00 next Monday, Brent.
That's right. All right.
There are sponsors that dictate that we have a show at 8:00 next Monday. So even if we don't want to, we're gonna
Danco.
I'm just trying to keep the cheers up, keep the vibes high, and keep it rocking, keep it rolling. But Chad,
we said we were going to talk about it later, but I figured we'd just talk about it now. I want you to get any crazy ideas.
As Robert's saying, who knows? Where are we drinking after the podcast? I mean, I'm already pretty far on this sucker, so.
Whoa!
More to come on that. My favorite segment is coming later in the show. We'll discuss that a little bit.
I feel like you're going to be loving it even more the more you drink that, man.
Hey, baby.
You might forget what I was forgetting I said to you.
Dude, you were blowing me up on Saturday night. It was insanity.
Don't drink too much of that riff and forget, though.
Hey, come on now. I won't. We bring the boom. Aaron, how was your weekend?
We were snowed in. I think I finally ventured out. I don't know, Saturday, late Saturday.
Okay.
In the midst of it, I don't know. I'm tired of snow, but we're getting through. Another day. Well, potty training and kids crying and hooray!
You're still potty training?
Look, man, it's not a quick thing. All right.
Promise that kid a dog. She will take care of business.
We're working our way through things.
I'm in bribe the children.
I don't know why you're surprised. I'm in charge of the potty training, and this is taking a while. So why is anyone surprised by this?
Well, the funny thing is potty training, if I remember correctly, potty training started I think it began Cincinnati was up 17 points against the Pitt Panthers towards the end of the third quarter. That's when potty training started. So obviously it's going to take a while with all the ups and downs that we've had since then. Jeez.
Who has a harder job, Aaron potty train or Wes Miller right now?
Oh my gosh.
Me. I have the harder job.
Well,
Yo,
Chad,
riffing with Royer has not started yet, Ryan. That
would have been a good one.
Anger right off the gates, man. But Aaron, it's good to hear that the snow is still there.
Yeah, I'm just happy to enjoy time with actual adults instead of children.
Yeah. It's
Chelsea. I offered Kelsey a chance to play that game. We listen and we don't judge, and she did not want to play that game with me.
The games, that's like my second most favorite game outside of the quiet game. When people are being really loud, it's like, yo, let's play the quiet game. How about that? I always win. But Royer, man, how was the weekend, dude?
It was good. This is one of my favorite weekends of the year, dude, when it's packed with football. You got college football playoff, NFL playoffs, Bearcat basketball. That was keeping the vibe super high. No, it was good. Had made some appetizers for we had some friends over to watch some football. That was good. And then
what would you make? Don't just graze over it.
You want to know the truth, so ham and cheese sliders, but my friends are saying they love them extra burnt, so I left them in the oven for like 5 minutes too long until they were black, and then I was like, oh wait, they didn't say that. I actually severely messed up on that one. So I made 48, but 24 of them survived. The other 24 took a nice little trip down the trash can. We made my girlfriend made pigs in a blanket. She made like a potato hash with like cheese and bacon bits. Then we made like a kind of like a sausage dip with like cream cheese, Velveeta, peppers, all that stuff.
Damn.
What else?
So what you're saying is you had both boom and doom.
Yeah, we had half the sliders were big dooms, but I'd say the other half was about a 3 booms, but they were solid, but they were still a little crispier than I would have liked. I think I'm missing one more thing. I don't know. I think that's about all of them. Yeah, it was good. Good food. Good time. Watched some ball. But yeah, it was a solid weekend outside the Cats. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately, but
So half of them brought the boom. The other half reminded me of the transfer we got out of the portal, Mr. Matthew McDoom. We can play that. We can rock. We can roll it. But yeah, man, sounds like you're having a Super Bowl party like a few weeks before the Super Bowl. That's my kind of guy right there. That's why we love to go. It's quite the legend.
Set the bar nice and low with the first batch of sliders. So now we can kind of really impress them the next time around.
Yeah, I mean, it's all life is it's a learning game. You go through dry spells, man. You go through tough stretches, and you were able to overcome that first tough stretch you had. You threw those ham sandwiches away, and just like the team's going to throw the last 4 games away and move on. So, speaking of throwing,
done that pep talk. So you guys know Ryan Royer, and he made ham and cheese sliders. They didn't turn out the way that he wanted them to. I guess you guys didn't want to start out 0-4 either. But you know what you do? You put another batch in the oven. Yes. You get some new offensive sets going. You start seeing imagining the hoops 2 feet wider, and then maybe the tide will turn a little bit for the Cats. Give them a little ham and cheese pep talk or something. Right?
And you thanked half of the guys that said, "Ooh, this ham and cheese sandwich stinks," and you thanked the other half that said, "Ooh, this ham and cheese sandwich is awesome," because they believed in you and they trusted in you, and the other half, you proved them wrong with your other batch of ham and cheese sandwiches. Yes. So that's big time motivation. Right there. That is big time right there. Speaking of big time, my friend Danco Joe, he is big time. If you're going through a tough stretch and you want to just have a good conversation and get your car fixed, head over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Danco Joe will hook you up. He's gonna get your car fixed. He's gonna get you an oil change. He's gonna do it all for a cheaper price because you're going to mention BCJ, you're going to mention BVP, you're going to mention Ryan Royer, you're going to mention ham and cheese sandwiches. And You would get
I-
$10.
Ryan, I think one of your boys is headed up to see Danco Joe.
Who is?
I got a text the other day. Hey, Chad, Will Huber, give me a call.
Oh, yeah. He asked for your number.
Up. He said, I think I got an issue. Can you get me in touch with Danco Joe?
Oh,
I said,
wow.
absolutely, I can get you in touch with Danco Joe.
He also just proposed to his girlfriend. They're engaged now.
Dang.
His now fiance. I wonder if Danco gave him some words of advice. And
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if Joe's the reason why he jumped all the way over the brim.
It was after they went out for large margaritas at the Mexican joint.
You know what? I'm gonna do it.
Joe, I love
her.
Joe, I love her. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pop the question. But yeah, you get all of that when you go to Danco Transmission. No, I don't care. You truly do. $10 off next oil change, 10% off next fixing. That's amazing. If Will Huber can do it, anyone can do it. Hit up Danco Transmission and not care.
But probably don't go in there just saying, "Hey Joe, I'm here for the ham and cheese sliders." He might be a little confused and not really understand, and you might not get that discount. So
he might laugh and be like, "Oh, Ryan Royer sent you. Come on in."
No, you go into Danco Joe's and you say, "Can I see Danco Joe?" And then when you see Danco Joe, you say, "Hey, you go get a margarita," and then you're set. Then everything's good.
You're done. Game's over.
I don't think he says no to that anytime, very often.
I think he'll actually smile and say, "Yep, you Bearcat fan? Yep. All right, let's go."
I was told to come and get a margarita.
There we go. And you know what? We're gonna discuss all this margarita talk and all this fun food talk here in the Cincy Light Studios. It's big time. It's big time here. Shouts to Cincy Light as well. Shouts to Quick Paper Supply and shouts to New Riff. And that is the BBP. Thank you all. That was a fantastic show. And I'm just joking. Let's talk about it, guys. Man. Well, we should start right at the top. It was a tough one on Saturday. 54-40. Lowest point total in Fifth Third Arena history for the Bearcats. Lowest point total in any game since 1993. That one was a win, actually, against UAB, 40-38. Man, this was just a tough game on both ends. The crazy thing is you talk about how difficult it was to watch, but there was 85 combined missed shots between the two teams. That's insane. 85. Just insane. Only one player in double figures for both teams. It's just a weird game overall, and obviously one that has the entire fan base talking. 4-game losing streak, tough start to Big 12 play after a pretty promising 10-1 non-conference slate. Obviously, it's a buzz all over the board, all over Twitter, all over everything. So, like we always do, we're just going to completely open it up and say, hey, guys, a couple days have been removed. We've been able to sleep on it. Chad has been active on the old X.com, and that is what I like to see is having differing opinions. And boy, oh boy, the opinions are all over the place. But one person, yeah.
Are you guys proud of me? I didn't argue with anybody. I just had rational, calm conversations. There was no bickering. There was no ugliness. And somebody started to take it in that direction. I just left them on read.
Yeah.
And I moved on. And we had good conversation. We had a really good conversation last night about 2009-10 and the correlation to this team.
Right.
But I turned over a new leaf in 2025. I'm not getting into the mud with people. We're trying to stay clean. We're trying to stay on the shore. We're not diving into the puddles.
Right. Yeah, your New Year's resolution is starting out splendidly. I will give you that, Mr. Brent. There's no doubt about that. But a couple days are removed, and I'm going to pass it down to Ryan, and I want to hear Ryan's thoughts, and I want to hear Aaron's thoughts, and then Chad, you and I will sprinkle in, and we will just dominate this talk about Kansas. Shut the door a little bit. Take a look forward because we desperately need to do that. But Ryan, you're watching this game on Saturday. What is going through that brain of yours?
Well, I mean, positive note, guys played hard. They played solid defense against a talented Kansas team, and they were in that game. And all it comes down to is you got to make the shots. And I think what we've seen kind of happen over the past couple of weeks now is that I don't think that our offense was ever established to be like some intense, like running these detailed, intricate sets, kind of like, how UConn might have ran last year. You'd see all the clips of them, like all the insane screen game, like plays off of plays off of plays. And I don't think that's something that our team ever has had in their back pocket. And we've kind of just relied on, we have good, solid players that can step up and make shots. And then when the hoop has a goddamn lid on it, like it has the past couple weeks, especially for our most reliable players, like it's just hard to like really dig yourself out of it. And it was just another example of that where we're getting decent looks. Guys are getting shots and shots they should make. And it's not like they're just shooting like 10 or 15% like underneath their average. They're shooting like 20-30% under their average or what we'd expect of them. And it's just, I'd like to think on the positive side that this trend it statistically can't keep happening where you have good shooters, good players just absolutely shitting the bed when we need them most. And they're going to have to turn the page and start shooting the ball better because, they're great. They're good shooters and they have to show that. And it's just not happening when we need it the most. And it just kind of sucks. And I don't think we were ever set up in a great spot to have, great offensive sets that can kind of put us in these easy gimme, like kind of really exposed defenses. So I don't know. I don't have any, like, I wish I had like an answer like, oh, Wes, you should do this. And then that will make these guys make these shots and we'll really get out of this. But I think that's kind of the issue right now is like, there's not really an answer other than like our players just have to play better offensively, but they play hard, that you've never felt once this year especially out of these 4 losses that these guys aren't trying. They're like giving up, like they're turning on the system, turning on their coaches, their message or anything. So we're just caught in a fucking shit show. We just gotta keep shooting and eventually we'll shoot our way out of it. But
gosh, you sure damn hope so. Aaron, it's obviously you guys had the aftermath, but a couple days removed, you've got to kind of take another look as you saw all the rest of the Big 12 games finish up. It seems like it's a scenario, but we'll talk more bigger picture. But I just want to hear just your final kind of thoughts just on the Kansas game itself. I mean, there were a couple of big plays that obviously stemmed the tide. There was, I keep looking back at that one stretch where I believe there was 5 minutes left in the first half. Cincinnati was up 25-19, I believe. And, you kind of say, okay, finish this first half on a high note and maybe you have a good chance going into halftime and have some momentum going into the second half. And then there was an over 9-minute spell where all they got was a free throw. And it's kind of a microcosm of the entire game. What still kind of sticks out in your eyes, Aaron, when you take a look back just as a whole from the Kansas game?
We've been begging for anybody to do anything off the bench, and we actually got some of that from Arlington Page in what arguably could have been his best game of the season. He did have some question marks as he missed the dunk, and then you have the second three that didn't go in, but at least he was doing something, which, again, we've been begging to see some signs of life from anyone outside of Day Thomas off the bench. So you got to be pleased with what you saw out of Page. 9 and 7. That's in 14 minutes. That's pretty good, especially against this Kansas team that rebounds pretty well. He was doing some of the scrappy stuff that Bearcat fans like to see, and I feel like that has probably been just either forgotten about or brushed under the rug as everybody has been up in arms over just the loss itself. So I do want to make sure that he gets some deserved flowers here. Outside of that, what do you say about a team that scored 40 points and Arlington Page had 9 of those 40 points? There's not much at this point that we haven't already said. I don't know how we spent more time discussing the game than there were points for the Bearcats after the game. But Chad and I somehow did that. I think that'll probably be the only time that happens, maybe in my life. At least, you hope so. You hope so.
They did score only 48 a couple days ago. How long did that aftermath go?
I was trying to leave that alone. But in any case, I don't know. This team it's not what you expected. You certainly looked up and down the roster on paper. You expected things to be going better than they are. And right now, I don't know that look, after the Colorado game, only one team in this entire conference will be completely defeated, and one team will have at least one win. So I would like to think that this team is not going to be the team leaving that arena without a win, but we'll see.
There are 5 1-3 teams.
Yeah, this Big 12 starting to kind of show there's a true top and there is everyone else. Probably about 5 teams, maybe
6.
Yeah, throwing Texas Tech.
Yeah. I mean, to be as close as they were to knocking off Iowa State. And then West Virginia is kind of a complete wild card.
Yeah.
Like Aaron and I were talking about last night, like, does Tucker DeVries, like, if he can come back instead of redshirting, does he look and go, pretty good, ranked team, like, could get a chance to play in the tournament? Like,
yeah,
do I come back and, or do they just roll with Alpha Javon Small, who has been a dude?
Yeah, that's one we'll look back on, right? But is what it is.
Would he have come here with Jizzle and Day-Day? No.
Right. You would have had to really pitch a little 2 combo guard, 2-point guard lineup scenario where I don't even know. But Chad, just kind of, obviously we're not going to spend an extra amount of time on the Kansas game recap, but just kind of closing up the Kansas thoughts as far as a couple of key play. I actually hit a rewatch today. Call me crazy, call me insane. I believe I'm probably both of those. And it was as ugly as we all remember. There were actually, to go with your point of hitting open shots, there was actually, out of their 22 3 attempts, I counted 9 that were legitimate open looks. 2 of those were CMOS, and obviously he finished Oper. Actually, out of all the makes,
no, he made one, right? He made the first one.
No, he had a.
No, that was Baylor. Sorry, that was Baylor.
Yeah, it was Baylor.
Wasn't he 0 for 6 from 3?
Yeah, 0 for 6.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
he made one early against Baylor and hasn't made one since.
Yep.
Like, that's not going to continue, was what I was like. That he's going to start working his way back up to that 35-40% clip. But sorry, Brent.
Keep going. No. Yes, I'd actually like to continue on that thought, but I mean, it's rough, man. Obviously 9 out of 22 looks being pretty open is actually not too bad of a percentage from 3. I mean, and when I say open, I mean like there's not someone within 7 feet of the shooter. And actually the ones that they made that Arlington step back, that was contested, and it fell through. Dan hit a corner 3 that he did not hesitate. He caught and he shot, and it went in. That was also, there was a man there on him. So I feel like a lot of it is just a lack of confidence. If you have open looks, shoot it. You look at CJ, who I thought CJ had some good minutes on Saturday. But a couple of times he's coming off a screen, and CJ from a couple of years ago probably fires that up right away. And instead, it's kind of a hesitation. You saw that a couple more times throughout this game where it's, if the confidence was there offensively, you're probably going to fire it up a little bit quicker than, saying like, oh, I'm not completely wide open. Let's continue to work it around. And then you get in a late shot clock situation. And then that's when all the bad shots happen. But Chad, kind of just, putting a bow on Kansas. 54-40, man. It's a tough pill to swallow. Low scoring defensive effort was there. But it was just a weird game.
Yeah, I mean, coming in, like defensively, these are two of the teams that grind people out the most in college basketball. Cincinnati's defense is way up there in, deep, like the lowest defensive tempo. I think average possession length is 334 on defense for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Average possession length for Kansas is 352. So, one, you should have hammered the under if you paid attention, because there weren't going to be enough possessions, for this to be a high scoring game. So you knew it was going to be a game that probably, if either team could make a basket, a game that was probably going to be played in like the lower 60s, upper 50s, lower 60s.
Yeah.
And then, Kansas shot 9.5% from three, and Cincinnati shot essentially about the same, except for Josh Reed made one with the score kind of out of reach with a minute left.
That was a swish, big time.
So you have to maximize those opportunities, and that's what how many they blew? Three? Like Seamoss had a wide open layup he blew. Day had a wide open layup that he missed.
Jizzle,
Jizzle had a couple easy shots. Aziz missed an easy layup on a putback. Page missed the dunk. So you're just, every time you do that, especially in a game like that where you're not going to have a lot of opportunity to make up for it because you're just not getting up and down the floor. You have to take advantage when the opportunities present themselves. And for whatever reason, right now, this team isn't doing it. And I think that's the frustrating part because, look, you're playing the number 4 defense in the country. You're gonna be bottled up some. Like, they are gonna make you take tough shots. Right now, the confidence in this team to make tough shots is pretty low because they're just not doing it. So you have to convert on the ones that like the Page dunk was beautiful offense. Day attacks. He draws Dickinson. He drops it off to Page. All Page has to do is catch, go up with 2 hands, and put the biscuit in the basket. Instead, he takes a second, tries to cock it back one-handed, flat-footed, like just little stuff like that this team, it's what's driving you crazy right now. And the coaches have to drill in their heads, like, you guys, our margin for error is really thin right now. And the way you play yourself out of that is you build your confidence. Like, this is an offense that is playing with a complete lack of confidence right now. And the way you build that up is to see the ball go through the basket. And even the most opportune times when the offense does work and they set good screens and a guy makes a good cut and they pass the ball to the right spot and a guy gets an open look and he misses. And that is what's going to continue to drag their confidence down if they can't get out of this, whatever hellhole funk that they're in. Like, they're just not giving themselves the opportunity to get back on track. Because that's how you get back on track. You take the easy ones, you put the easy ones in the basket, and then the tough ones get a little bit easier because you're seeing things better and you're playing with a little bit more confidence. And right now it's like, it's the Star Wars scene where the walls and the trash compactor are just closing in on them, and they can't figure out how to get they can't find that switch to turn the damn thing off to get the walls to stop.
Yeah. And how you mentioned like the margin for error is so slim, like against a team like Kansas even more, but just in the Big 12 in general, like this isn't the American where like you can have one of these terrible stretches of shooting and you're not going to be sitting at 0-4. I also think when you describe, like you just listed off like at least 10 points, just free points that we left just completely on the floor. That's a completely different game. And like I was saying, like the statistical probability of them to stay on this type of horrible spell is just, we're in such an outlier of a shooting situation that like, even if like one or two shots go in and then you throw those 10 in, like that's a game where we're sitting like, man, like these guys really gutted this one out. They kind of got over the hump, even though they played bad, not terrible, like terrible. I would say it was a terrible offensive game, but like, just like you're saying, they had those looks, they had those 5 like easy opportunities. And that's like a difference in beating like a top team in Kansas. Like like this team isn't like, it's not like everything's collapsed and the season's over and like they're just a terrible basketball team. It's just a matter of like when you're not shooting well, like everything's under the microscope and now like everything just seems to be emphasized and they can't seem to convert. They can't even convert the easy ones. But like I don't think the foundation is broken. I don't think that like this season's a wash in any way. It's going to come around. It's just like we don't want to keep being put through this horrible pain of 4 straight losses within the conference. But I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling about it. It seems like unreal. It just seems unreal because it is like there's no way this can keep happening. We just gotta take the easy ones now, especially when things are this statistically bad.
I mean, the thing is, Ryan, like to your point, we have seen Jizzle and CMOS play at a high level. Like these are guys we know it's in there. And like everybody has to just dig in because look, they are not going to be in an easy like situation here over this next week because you're flying out to Colorado tomorrow. You've got Colorado at 9:00 Wednesday night. You're going to get back to Cincinnati at probably 4 or 5 in the morning Thursday, and then turn around for Arizona State Thursday afternoon. They have got to dig in. Like they have got to dig deep and figure out a way to get themselves out of this because it's not forgiving. Like it is. Why do you think I talked about like this 10 weeks, 20 games? There's nowhere to hide. And when you play bad, and they have played bad, especially offensively, there's no like, okay, let's take a day off. Then let's get in the gym and try to get some like fundamental, basic, like skill development type stuff. And then we'll get, in your off week, when you have an off week. Like that's usually what happens. You have a game, you take a day off, you get in the gym for a day or two, and you get back to the lab. You go through your normal, like what they would do in the summer kind of, skill development type stuff. And then you get into a game plan. That's not coming. There's no period where they're going to be able to take a breather in this thing. So the staff, the players, everybody has got to look deep inside themselves and say, do we want to be the team that we thought we should be going into this season? Because you're 0-4 in the league. There is a way out of it. But it only happens if you get yourself out of it this week. Because if you're 1-5 after the Arizona State game, or you're 0-6 after the Arizona State game, there's no coming back. There's no digging yourself out of this when you got to go to Houston and you got to go to Iowa State and you got to go to West Virginia like, you know, and the tough games at BYU and Utah, even though those teams aren't playing great right now. The
tough game at UCF.
Tough game at UCF. Like, it has to, that thing that we've been waiting for has to happen right now. There is no like chance to hit the reset button. So they better figure this shit out today, tomorrow,
yesterday,
on the plane to Colorado. Go to a dispensary in Colorado if you have to get yourself right. I don't care.
They shot so bad against Kansas, they took the crowd out of it. And if you don't start winning, there's no hope of getting the crowd back into a game at any point the rest of the season.
I disagree with that because the way that this fan base has sold the place out, if the fans are there, and they're going to be there, if you play well, people are going to cheer. Like, people aren't going to give up. People didn't give up on football when they were bad last year. And people still showed up en masse to those games to watch a team that finished 3-9. So I disagree a little bit there, Aaron. But what will happen is the minute that things wobble,
you'll hear what you heard the final 4 minutes of the game on Saturday.
If you give them something to cheer about, I think they will still cheer. But your benefit of the doubt, to your point, I think is what you're getting at. Your benefit of the doubt is gone if the other team goes on a 9-0 run, which in this league is going to happen because the other team has good players. You give up a 9-0 run, and all of a sudden that place starts feeling real uneasy. Instead of, like, if you go back to, I think, the Arizona game, every time, like, Arizona had that thing at, like, 12, 13, 14 points, and every time Cincinnati scored a basket, the crowd would get up and start to try to, like, spark that run that got them back to even. You lose that benefit of the doubt because you're not playing well and people are frustrated and people expected more from this team. And
it's warranted, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying the crowd will be there. If you play well, they will cheer. But the minute you start to falter, to Aaron's point, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. Like, down 12 and you score to cut it to 10, they're not going to be on their feet saying, all right, let's get this. Let's get a 9-2 run to cut this thing to 3.
Yeah.
They're going to sit on their hands and go, show me. I don't believe it. I don't believe that you're going to
like, there's the one week you had, you're going to miss your next 4. Like, I'm not going to get too more emotionally invested. But Chad, what you were saying is I think this team is built on the right stuff, kind of how I was mentioning, just the way they play outside of the shooting. Because these guys they're all Big 12, Division I college basketball players. They can all shoot the ball. And this spell isn't going to continue. Like, there's going to be games where the Bearcats are going to make their shots and they're going to win by double digits. There's going to be games the Bearcats start making their shots again, but the other team's making their shots. It's a dogfight. So I think they're built on the right stuff. It's just the confidence has to come back, like you're saying. These shots are going to go in. Maybe I'm not saying they're just going to start going on a 5-game spree where they're shooting 60% from the field every single game, but the shots that need to go in will start going in, and the run will start going on the runs, or we'll be able to crawl back into games and steal some games. But it's kind of old adage of, how much emphasis, like, does there need to be on, like, Coach Miller, like, how many, like, easier looks are you going to be trying to draw up for these guys to try to kind of get them back into rhythm, or is it kind of let these guys play their way out of it? But they got the defense, they got the rebounding, they got that kind of, like, they still have that dog energy to them where they're not giving up. So, but you're saying the pressure's on. It's got to be now. Like, someone, it might be someone off the bench who just kind of, like you were mentioning, Paige, who kind of gave us a little spark on offense. Or I thought Josh Reed was a good spark on defense. I thought he was playing hard. But I don't know. You're right. It's got to come now. I think it's there. It's the shots are going to fall. It's just how many of them, and hopefully it can take us over this losing streak.
Terrence, you're not giving up. You've made 3 comments and you've bitched in all 3 of them. You're giving up. Like, take it to your Twitter feed, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I just it's tough. I mean, 40 points was the lowest point total of any college basketball team over the entire weekend.
Yeah, it's
The,
bad.
the only
It's
the,
bad.
the only other team to score 40 was Evansville, is 6-11, and they played Drake, who is actually a legitimately good team. Will be playing in the NCAA tournament.
Like
Not
from
the rapper.
Canada?
Not the rapper. No.
Oh.
I sorry, I should have clarified. He's not having a
That guy
good year.
doesn't play good defense.
He's
That
not
guy's-
having
that
a good
guy's-
year.
No,
Yeah,
that guy's struggling on defense right now.
he got dog walked a little while ago, and he has not been able to recover. There's no doubt about that.
Can
No
we
doubt
sue?
about that.
Maybe we can sue, like Drake
Oh,
did.
Evansville, they not like us. But something also. You see Cooper Flagg outscored the Bearcats 42-40. You see the Purdue shot and made 19 3-pointers in a game yesterday. There's just some mind-boggling things that happen. But I'm going to throw some stats out at you guys, and that's what they are. They're true stats. I want you guys to just kind of see what your thoughts are after I lay these out here. So since Georgia Tech, the team's shooting 41.1% from the field and 28.4% from three. They're averaging 55.5 points per game in Big 12 play. Against teams that have a pulse, so I'm throwing in Villanova, I'm throwing in Dayton, I'm throwing in Xavier. That's 59.4 points per game in those games. They have the lowest efficiency rating of all Power 5 conference teams in conference play. And then here's where the real nitty-gritty comes. So everyone likes to reference KenPom, and KenPom is spectacular for what they bring. They do have good stats and whatnot, but they kind of it takes a while for it to catch up. There is a little other website called Bartorvik, and on Bartorvik you are able to kind of set a certain time and see what the rankings are throughout the country in different in the same categories: adjusted offensive efficiency, effective field goal percentage, kind of see what those metrics are from a certain date. So I did that, and the results are a little alarming. So since the Villanova game, Cincinnati is 86 in the country, according to Bartorvik, and adjusted offensive efficiency, they are 273rd in the country. In effective field goal percentage, they are 318th. And in three-point shooting percentage, they are 27.9%, which is 335th in the country. That's 300 out of 364 teams. And that's through 9 games. And since conference play began, all those numbers have gotten worse, and the free throw rate is 356th in the country. It's pretty rough. And
I mean, you can do just conference for KenPom.
Yeah.
Last in offensive efficiency, second to last in effective field goal percentage.
Yep.
Second to last in free throw rate, third to last in 2-point percentage, last in 3-point percentage, last in free throw percentage.
Yep.
Dreadful. The only thing they're in the top 10 on offense is offensive rebounding percentage. And in large part, some of that is they just miss a shit ton of shots. And then they go get them.
Exactly. So they're 144th in the country since conference play. Since December 30th is the date I picked up till now. So over the last 2 weeks, they are 144th in the country. The only Big 12 team worse than them is Oklahoma State, and the only Big 12 and the closest Big 12 team is Colorado at 131st. So it's been a while since Villanova. They're kind of struggling.
Not kind of.
They are.
Not kind of.
Yes, they are.
Here's my favorite one, Brent. Here's my favorite one.
Yeah.
So in Big 12 play,
right.
Okay, high-level basketball, they just played 3 great teams, 3 really good teams. Whatever you want to say about Kansas, Arizona, and Baylor, they're all really good.
Yeah.
They have held opponents to 26.1% from 3-point range in conference play. That is second in the Big 12. They are playing elite perimeter defense. The bad part is they're shooting 25.8% from three. So as great as they are defensively, second in the conference in three-point field goal percentage allowed, they are shooting worse than the second best defense in the conference as a team. That's almost impossible to do. It is almost impossible to do. To be that great on defense on one end of the floor and to be that terrible offensively. And look, I know people get mad at me, and I'm going to go on a rant for a little bit of a second here.
Do it.
If we don't, I know all people want to hear us say is fire West, fire everybody, fire Cunningham, fire Satterfield, fire. They want me to be the great Cornholio. Okay, say we do that. So today, fire Les Miller. What the fuck do we talk about for the next 16 games when the game is over? We've already taken our stance. We've already fired the coach. There's no analyzing the games. There's no breaking things down. If they turn it around, we've already backed ourselves into a corner. If we come out and say, Wes is the guy, he's going to turn it around, and they don't turn it around, we backed ourselves in the corner. Our job is content, talking, breaking down games, giving our thoughts, breaking down stats, looking at numbers. Like, if you expect us to come out and drastically take one side or the other, you haven't paid attention for the 18 years that we've been here. Because we still have work to do. So, like, if you think we're a West apologist or we're state meat, like, no, we're talking about what's happening. So if that's not for you and you just want to scream into the void, fire everybody, then we're probably not for you. There's probably a channel somewhere on Bearcat internet where you can find people that are like you that just want to fire everybody and throw the baby out with the bathwater. But if you're looking for actual analysis, if you're looking for people that are going to break down the games, if you're looking for people that are going to talk about what's going right and what's going wrong, then this is the place to be. So if you show up in my mentions and I'm talking about blame Wes, blame the staff, blame whoever you want to blame, but if Seamus and Jizzle James aren't playing well, and in fact are playing bad, this team won't win. Does the staff need to work on that? Yes. Do the players need to work on that? Yes. Like, that's all encompassing. Because right now, what they're getting from Jizzle and Seamus means that they're going to lose far more often than not. And until they get that turned around, that's going to continue to be the case. If your stance is, that's on the staff, fire the staff, everybody's got to go, okay, fine. But that's not how this works. Like, you know, there are things to talk about that we discuss and that we're here for. If you want to be one of the extremes, either way, really. Like, if you want to say Wes is the guy, I don't know that. That's why we were talking about, like, that's why on Twitter I was talking about Mick last night and Mick's 14. Because everybody was out on Mick in year 4. They finished second in Maui. They had Lance Stevenson, Deontay Vaughn, one of the top 5 scorers in program history. They had Yancey Gates. They had Rashad Bishop. They had all the ingredients. They had a good young bench of guys that ended up having great careers as Bearcats. Kashmir Wright, Deion Dixon, Jaquan Parker, Ibrahima Thomas had a good career. Steve Toyloy was, you know, a toughness, physicality piece. Like, everybody was out. And instead, we did then what we're doing now. Mick's going to have to prove it. The chips are on the table. The guy's going to have to figure it out because year 4 ended in a way that nobody expected it to end. They lost 7 of their last 10. The offense went in the tank. They finished 119th or 120th in offense that year and 44th in defense. That's not a good team. Yeah. Everybody was upset. Everybody was ready to move on from Mick. And then in year 5, he got it turned around. And now, because of revisionist history, well, everything that Mick did was great, and everything that Wes did is awful, and that team would kick this team's ass, blah, 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 blah. The reality is the numbers, the performance that team put on the floor It's very similar to where this one is right now. This team's a little better on defense, but both of those teams struggled in an elite league to gain traction, to stack wins. Wes is going to have to prove that he's got the ability to do that, and he's not getting fired tomorrow.
No. Deshaun
So
Butler.
we still have to sit here and talk about all of these things.
Yeah. I just real quick, Aaron, I know you want to chime in real fast, but I do want to mention, Chad, that season ended with Deshaun Butler, right? That hit that game winner. I think that was in the Big East tournament, kind of ripped the hearts out. And if I remember correctly, I proceeded to punch a hole in a wall at
Of course you did.
At a party that I was at.
How much did you have on the game?
You know what? Back then, who even knows? But I proceeded to punch that hole in the wall. Deshaun Butler, man, good job. But yeah, that's where we are. Aaron, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you're just a Bearcats fan, this last year or two has been extremely frustrating because football's been rough. Basketball.
Go watch our 2024 recap shows where we were all like, "This year sucked. This was not fun."
Basketball this season, since conference play started, it's been rough. You talked about how it should be impossible to be as good at defense as you are on offense. I just watched that season of the Bengals where the offense was insane and the defense was historically bad. Yeah. So we're starting to catch repeats now of the same thing.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine how, as a Cincinnati fan and a fan of all things Cincinnati, the Reds, they kind of did the same thing too. Pitching, the bullpen, things that have been really bad. We're actually pretty good this year, but we couldn't hit for shit. We couldn't hit it at all. I think the highest average was like 230 or something terrible. So I don't know. We're playing the hits in every sport right now. So as a Cincinnati fan, it's almost numbing. At this
I think our basketball situation is even worse because like the Bengals defense was injured. They don't have a lot of guys, so to say, but we have guys and they aren't even performing. So it almost feels worse.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? To kind of go full circle and everything, you look back at the game on Saturday, and Kansas equally struggled shooting the ball. They were terrible shooting the ball. But you know what they have? They have Hunter Dickinson, who not a lot of teams in the country have the luxury of a big man that can go and get you some
scored
buckets.
5 more points than Arrington Page. Big
deal.
Oh, please.
When they were in a stymie, he was the one that was able to get it on the post and actually score a bucket. I hear what you're saying, but Page also had a freaking step back shot that
money.
If Page got 18 more minutes like Hunter Dickinson did, he might have had Hunter Dickinson's numbers. Just saying.
No. We probably would have lost
in that game.
Brent.
Yeah.
Yes. You want to get into the Hunter Dickinson debate with me?
I'm not debating Hunter Dickinson. I'm saying that
what has he won? What has he won?
That teams have the ability to go to the post sometimes. And that's where Cincinnati has put a lot of eggs in a basket of having their guard play succeed. And right now they aren't doing that. But kind of what Royer's saying, we've seen success happen. And Seamoss was horrible from 3 in the first half of last season. You know, a lot of people were talking about, hey, we were told that we were getting a shooter, that a good player from Butler that was a scorer, this, that, and the other. Well, we all know what happened. The whole hit by a car scenario happened. And then you look at the final 16 games of the year, and he's shooting over 42%, and he's making. He only had one game over the last 17 games where he didn't make 2 or more threes in one game. That's against Texas Tech's, Iowa State's, Houston's. Baylor's. This is games that he showed that he has the ability to score. It's just. And then, of course, you look at Jizzle over last year as well. That's why it's so mind-numbingly difficult to figure out how Jizzle 0 for 8 from 3 so far in Big 12 play. Seamoss shooting 24% from the field and 12% from 3 in Big 12 play. I don't know. That part is just crazy to me. And one last thing on the Kansas game is only 2 free throw attempts. Yes, the whistle was weird. Was extremely weird.
I mean, they you can't count it in that game because they just literally said we're not calling fouls.
Right, exactly.
Like
exactly.
we're not calling fouls, which I'm okay with as long as it's even on both sides and they just like it didn't turn into a wrestling match per se, but just not calling fouls.
Yes. But in the same sense, free throw rate and free throw attempts, and it's been a problem all year for the most part for the Bearcats. And obviously then you can bring in the whole scenario where they aren't shooting very well from the line, but going back as far as I can go on stat reference is 2 free throw attempts was the smallest amount of attempts in an entire game. It just, I just am struggling to see. They need to find ways to get easy points, and if you don't have an offensive big in the post that you can go and try and get a couple of easy buckets here and there, and your guards aren't scoring the ball efficiently, and your threes aren't falling, it's just kind of a perfect mess. It's just a perfect storm of, pardon my French, sorry, Dan, shit. And it's just really hitting the fan right now. And so
we haven't done
the
the
only way
sorry Dan in a while. Are you bringing that back? You bringing sorry Dan back?
Well, I don't normally curse. In real life, I'm a sailor, but on this podcast, I am straight buttoned up to a T. It's tough to watch the offense, but we have seen where certain things have fallen. Jizzle's like mid range is just way off. It's hard to figure out what's going on, but you know what? There's always next game, and that next game is Colorado, and we can continue hitting our heads against the wall on this. And I have some more depressing stats that I'm not even going to say because they're just depressing. But the fact of the matter is, you need someone that can go out just, when things aren't going well, they say, just give me the ball. I'm going to go up and get a bucket, get fouled, do something. Chad, you had a lot of references to Mick, and there's been a lot of Mick thrown around here and there.
Hey, just lost his fourth game in a row in the Big Ten to Rutgers.
Right. Yeah, they are reeling. They're definitely spiraling. But most Mick teams when he was here had a guy that would say, give me the ball, I'm going to go and either get fouled and go to the line and try and get some points there. Just someone to bail them out of extreme dry spells. And you would never look back at Mick's UC teams and say, wow, he was an offensive genius. But I think that's one difference that he had in his teams where there was that quote unquote alpha, and someone's got to step up, and maybe it is just seeing some shots fall and all of a sudden the confidence comes back and all of a sudden everything's different as a whole. So I don't know.
And I think people need to understand, like, when we say that, none of us are saying this is going to, like, as currently constructed from what we've seen, this is not going to be a team that shoots 38% from three as a team over an extended stretch of conference play. It's not going to happen.
They're one of the worst teams in the country.
32%, which is still bad, would look a whole lot different for this team. 33% from three as a team, like game to game, would look a whole lot different for this team than what we have seen over the past 3 weeks. It's been bad.
Yeah, it's been bad. It's been very rough. Been very rough. And like I said, there's always next game, and that game is Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Make sure you head to.
I did want to address something else before we turn the page. It's fair to question the development because the thought process was you bring everybody back.
Yeah.
Everybody takes a step. And that's not happening. No. So it's fair to question that. Where does that lie? Did the guys not work hard enough in the summer? I don't believe that because I saw enough of it that I didn't get the vibe that guys weren't locked in.
Yeah.
Where does it come from? Is it as simple as confidence that right now they're just really down on themselves offensively and they feel like they're, you get to that point where you're pressing and you're trying to make things happen that aren't there. I think they're missing open passes. I think they're missing, like, they throw the right pass, but they throw it at a guy's knees instead of at his chest. And now the defense recovers, and he doesn't have that extra second to get a clean look off. You know, when you throw it down low, then he's got to catch it and bring it up. Now the closeout gets there. If you throw the pass properly, you know, the guy can get a clean look off before the closeout happens. It's just a cacophony of suck right now offensively for this team, because everything that can go wrong is going wrong. The sets aren't working. The players aren't executing. When the sets do work, the shots don't get made. When the sets don't work, all of a sudden it's just dribble, 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 dribble. I mean, look, whoever came up with Dribble James, as frustrating as it is, that's a hilarious assessment of where things are at right now, because he's not playing with any confidence. He's not playing to his strengths, to his abilities. He's questioning himself. He's second-guessing himself. He's not playing downhill. He's not attacking. And, you know, that's what happens when you go 0 for 11 and 2 for 11 and 3 for 11. And, like, you know, I hope we don't have to continue to play this game where he just adds one make. And then eventually he's at 6 or 7 for 11, because by the time that happens, they're going to be 0-7 in conference play.
Hoping to make the CBI. But yeah, it's for me also, Chad. It seems like some possessions they keep trying to find the best shot when
they're passing up good shots.
Yeah, that's when the shot clock then comes involved, and that's when you see these, like, a lot of the threes and during the non-con that people didn't like Day shooting were when there was like 3 seconds left on the shot clock. And you know, you saw that a lot on Saturday, where it's like, okay, let's pass,
with 5 seconds left on the clock.
Right. Exactly. Like that's what led to the desperation. Yeah, desperation step back 3 by Arrington Page was a last second shot clock shot. Their first bucket of the game was an alley-oop to Dylan Mitchell. That CMOS passed that ball with under a second left on the shot clock. You got to think a lot of that's a confidence thing, where it's just like, you know, hey, catch it. If you got some space, shoot it.
What we're not seeing, Brent, is somebody that with 6 seconds on the shot clock says, give me the damn ball. Like the Kansas game was the ultimate microcosm of that. Because I've never seen so many guys trying to get rid of the ball when the shot clock, like, where's your confidence? Where a lot, like, guards are supposed to, with 6 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah.
Let's go. Give me the ball. I'm going to make something happen. And instead they're like, nah, not me, man. You do it. You take the bad shot. I don't want it to affect my shooting percentages. That's what I see in those situations against Kansas. Yeah. I don't want it to affect my shooting percentages. I'm not taking the bad shot. No, you get the ball, you attack, you play downhill, you pull up, you make a jump shot.
What shooting percentages? They're all trash.
They are.
They're rough. And you know what? Like, one last point. And then I want to riff with Royer, because my boy's stuck in his phone. I need him to ask me some questions, because I'm excited about riffing with Royer. But
I've been on a roll here lately.
No, you're good. I was checking my email. You're good.
A couple of times is, beginning of halves. I think 2 out of the last 4 halves, the first play offensively has ended in a shot clock violation. And then you have the one play, Cincinnati's down 5, and they call a timeout, and they get called for an illegal screen on Aziz. It's just another time. Day gets a defensive rebound, and it's kind of not even a fast break. It's literally just he's dribbling the ball off the court, and he decides to pass a 20-foot pass to Dylan, who, like, Dylan wasn't even a fast break scenario. Like, there was no reason to throw this pass. Zeke Mayo steals it, takes it the other way.
There was a guy in his airspace waiting for that pass to be thrown.
Right. Steals it, takes it the other way for an alley-oop, dunk. They go up 9, and it's history after that. It's just those times. All of these scenarios are times where, like, you should lock in. And you should, like, Aziz should be ready knowing CMOS is going to be coming up the middle. I need to stand still, not dip in last second and bump Zeke Mayo off his stride and get an illegal screen. There's so many different times. And the dunk, the Page dunk, we all talk about it. you can just go up with two hands. There's no reason to try and cock that back one-handed and dunk it. You know, Hunter Dickinson pulled back. He wasn't going to contest at the rim.
Right.
Just either lay it in or dunk it with two hands. Like, there's just so many different small things that kind of Royer brought up where it's like, yes, it was a 14-point win, but with 5 minutes left, it was only, with a 3-point game. So I don't know. The whole fan base just needs a win. They need a damn win. And what I need right now is a quick
look. Colorado is currently 86th, or 125th on offense, 65th on defense. Are they tough to beat at home? Sure. They're a good team at home. They have a really good coach. That's not a great basketball team. If you want to save this season, you go to Colorado and win. If you don't, you throw up your hands and say, oh, man, it's tough to win on the road in the Big 12. Like, woe is us. We're doing all we can. The guys are trying hard. No, you go gut out a win. Is it going to be ugly? Yeah, damn right it's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
But go find a way to have more points when the clock hits 0 and get on the plane and get back to Cincinnati at 5 o'clock in the morning feeling pretty damn good about yourself.
Right. Just please,
the Dan Scoop alley-oop. Like he was throwing a grenade into a crowd.
Shitty lob.
And then
that's
another
shitty lob, Aaron. Like that's the definition. 1 foot, one hand, no balance, and you just fling it over your head like a grenade.
The shittiest of the lobs.
Yeah.
Might be the worst lob they've thrown in 2 years. And that's saying something, Aaron.
You're not wrong.
Aaron, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I immediately was like, Aaron is sitting there saying shitty lob. I know you were. But yeah, it's that's the thing. Wes is right. Teams do go through rough times, go through dry spells, but it's like you look at it and it is when it looks this bad is when you really start to say like, okay,
it's not a team that's playing well and losing because the other team played a little bit better. Exactly. That's not happening.
Right. I mean, they were down 19 against Arizona. Yes, thank you for the fight and the determination to come back, but you're down 19 in that game. Like, you lose to arguably one of probably the bottom 3 worst teams in the Big 12. Just please win. Just go on the road and do it for everyone's sake. Be the half of the fan base that Wes said he's going to say thank you to for not giving up, not the other half that he's going to prove wrong. So I'm ready for a timestamp. I need a riff.
Are you okay, Brent? Are you all right?
No, not at all. But yeah, we'll be all right.
Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They service over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next-day deliveries. They provide a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick, 513-470-2029, and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases. I think I felt bad. I think I saw Nick and his partner that owns Quick Paper Supply after the game on Saturday, and it was like a quick passing, and I think they were trying to get my attention, and I didn't notice it until I was like out of range to where I couldn't get back to them. And if that happened, I'm sorry. That's on me. That's my bad.
Here we go. Well, you know, I think on Saturday a lot of people were okay if you just did not say hello at all. I think everyone was kind of in like a state of just what the hell is going on. But that's why you're going to talk about this.
Oh yeah, I was just going to tell Sean, if you've got a burner, jump off a bridge. New Riff, fiercely independent and unabashedly innovative. New Riff produces award-winning bourbon, rye whiskey, and gin at their distillery in Newport, Kentucky. The Aquafire Tasting Room, located on the 3rd floor of the distillery, features cocktails, flights, and pours of New Riff's entire line of spirits, including rare, limited edition, and distillery exclusive releases. Bearcat Journal listeners can save 50% on distillery tours when they use the code BEARCATS24. For more information or to book a tour, visit newriffdistilling.com.
Boom, baby. Got a couple single barrels here.
Wow.
CW, Kings of Grain. Baby. Distilled on 429.16 and 5.3.16. Some of that good-ish right here now.
What proof you got?
Boom.
103.9.
103.6 and 103.2. So,
yeah.
Hey.
This guy wins.
Yeah. Pause.
You better hope no one got a screenshot of you doing that, Brent.
Yeah, can somebody please screenshot Brent doing that?
No, we're not. We will not go
Be
back.
a good Photoshopper in there.
We only look forward to Colorado. That is right. Nothing else.
All right, gentlemen. I kind of felt like the bench has got, like, you're seeing a little bit more guys coming in there, getting a little more minutes lately. Do you think there's a justification moving forward in that with our starters kind of struggling offensively? And do you see any reason to entertain the idea of maybe having Seamas or Jizzle start off coming off the bench for a game or two to try to jumpstart them and maybe give them a little boost in some way, a little external motivation? But wanted to pick your brain on that one.
Right now, I don't think anything should be off the table. I think you need to try literally whatever you can come up with. I don't think it should matter who's starting, who's coming off the bench. Play the hot hand. Who cares? Whatever it takes to literally jumpstart this offense, like clear, do it, because nothing is working right now.
I will say what we saw is I do think when CJ and Josh were in the game, they ran structurally better offense.
Right.
The two of them set good screens. They cut. They moved the ball. Like, those are the things that people are frustrated with from the starters, because that's what happens when you don't do those things. The offense looks flat. When you don't cut hard, when you don't pass, make crisp passes, when you don't take advantage of, if a guy's overplaying Seamas, cut back door. Like take advantage. If the defense is going to overplay you, good offense is taking advantage of that. Yeah. And we're not seeing these guys instinctually notice the advantage and then play off of it. It's like they're like you're going through like install day of the offense, right? And this is what the offense looks like, and you're just running it to its completion to know what the offense looks like. So teams then scout your offense and they say, okay, well, this guy's supposed to end up here. We're going to take that away. Then you make them pay for it, and you make them pay for it with crisp passes and backdoor cuts and good screens. And if it takes playing Josh and CJ more to get this offense functioning properly, then do it.
Do you think that's something that, I was kind of alluding to it at the start of the show, where we've kind of, maybe we're a little bit over reliant on like this style of game, or like just overly confident in like those guys, maybe not holding them to the standard of running the offense? Do you think it's something like those guys kind of, they're like, oh, I have my style of playing and I'm going to stick to my guns, and maybe like the coaching staff is like, here's Seamas and here's Jizzle's game, like we're just going to let them do that, but kind of be more structured on the other guys?
No, I don't think that. I just think it's a matter of like, when you're at the top of the scouting report, like when you're the guy that the other team is trying to take away, you have to be even more cognizant of taking advantage of their mistakes or taking advantage of their overplays. Yeah. And instead, like I think we saw twice against Kansas, Jizzle split the ball screen because teams are high hedging him, and he split the ball screen. The one time he got to the rim and missed, could have been a foul. The other time he got fouled. And if you do that more frequently, then they can't high hedge you as much, because you're beating the high hedge. You're beating the overplay. For Seamas, like, a lot of the action they like to run for him, and Chris Lepore and I have gone over this on the Brendel or the Bearcat breakdowns, hoping to have one up here soon. Chris was sick last week. We tried to get one in, and he just felt like ass and didn't have a chance to get to it. But they like to like CMOS is the screener and then comes off a screen after he sets a screen, then comes off a screen to get open. He's setting the screen, and then if he comes off the screen, the team is switching. So there's a guy over the top that's waiting for him when he comes off of the screen. Back cut, flare cut. Like, do something that's not just running into what the defense expects you to do. They're waiting for you. They're saying X is the spot that they're trying to get him, and we're going to wait for him. We're going to stand there and wait for him to get to that spot to take away the action that they're looking for. So you have to do something as a basketball player in your mind to counter somebody who's standing in your spot. That means somewhere else on the floor is available for you to make a play. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing with them is the two of them have not adjusted well to defenses saying, we are loading up. We are doing what we can to take away this action. Okay, then they go through this stuff in practice. Like they said, there are counters to everything that they do now. You're at that point in the season where you've gone through your stuff, you've developed counters, you've seen what the defense is showing you, you've shown these guys ways that the plan is to beat those counters. You have to execute it, and they're not. And when they do execute it, they miss the shot.
Yep.
I am happy that you brought up CJ because even though he didn't make a shot or anything, I thought he like you said he had crisp passes. He had like however weird it is to say it, like looked like he belonged out there in the minutes he was on the court. If that makes any sense at all. And I just think like there might be a bit of a rust factor with him as well. And it sucks that we're talking about, this far into the season, knocking off some extra rust and hopefully he gets some more minutes and sees, maybe his lid comes off the basket a little bit and he starts, getting his confidence back. Cause he came off a couple of screens where it's like CJ from 2 years ago is catching and shooting that right away. It's will that come back? Will it just, as far as Ryan, your question, and Chad and Aaron touched on this in the aftermath. You saw Day get 26 minutes. You saw Jizzle get 20. And Wes mentioned it in the presser, and everyone is just riffing pressers left and right. But it's just he says, I don't care who gets introduced in this in that damn
runs out of the tunnel,
runs out and shakes everyone's hands. It's and that part's pretty true. So because if you look back at Wes's starting lineups, like other than the 1 year, I think last year when injuries and different things really threw everything for a Tiffy, he kind of rolls with the same starting lineup. So if I thought it would really like shock Jizzle or CMOS to be sent to the bench and come off and try and get going that way, then I mean,
you have an option with you're not sending CMOS to the bench for CJ.
Right. No, for sure. No, I agree. I think the only move would be like Day for Jizzle, and obviously Day started all last year. So it's not
how about
that
this
crazy
one?
of a move.
How about this one, boys? Sources: Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has spoken with Colorado head coach Deion Sanders about the team's head coaching vacancy, and discussions are expected to continue regarding the possibility of him becoming the next coach in Dallas.
Who's actually surprised?
Nobody. And by the way, Sean, he was talking about people booing. He was asked about people booing. He was not talking about the fucking burner accounts on Twitter.
Well,
Jesus.
Well, and also, Chad, there's some rumblings on Twitter that Colorado fans think that their next move, if Deion left, would be Nick Saban. So watch out.
Okay.
That Geico connection.
Yeah.
Or Affleck. Affleck. That's what it is. Not Geico.
Affleck.
Ryan, hit us with another one.
All right. If you're Wes Miller, are you trying to go down the route of, going more of like a structured, like set-oriented offense to try to get an open look, or are you kind of like sticking with your guys' shooting ability and just kind of say, hey, go do you? You're going to shoot yourself out of that, or are you looking to do more kind of like a, hey, why don't you try limiting some of your shots a little bit and like look for the easy ones and maybe look to distribute to some counters more?
I'm sure you guys have much more detailed answers than I will, so I'll go first. But I just think you're 15 games into the season. You're not really going to change your entire offense at this point. Maybe that's things that you put a pin in for the offseason to try and do. But I think right now you got what you got, right? Like
Yeah,
sure you can run counters and you can try and make variations to what you've already installed as your offense, but I just don't think that you can go and just try and switch up and change the entirety of the offense that you've been running now for this season, and by and large it's a lot of what they ran last season as well, as you got a lot of the same guys.
So
making more of an emphasis on, hey, you know, a lot of times, like from last year and through this year so far, it's like, hey, if you feel open and you want to shoot the ball, kind of like shoot it, kind of, you know how CMOS will just launch it sometimes, and like 2 times out of 5, those were going in, but now they're not. Is it like, if you're Coach Miller, like, hey, how about we take those kind of like 3, I guess, not as efficient shots where you're kind of contested or it's a little bit further off the arc, and like, hey, let's look to get some more action, or look to, I don't know, like look to swing it over and kind of let the offense develop a little bit more. Kind of like, instead of saying, hey, you be you, like, I'm going to let you shoot whatever shot you feel is best, or hey, they're not falling right now, like let's try something different, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. There are, I mean, every game there's a handful of new plays that they put in that are designed, you know, to take advantage of what the other team has shown on defense. So that part of that is, you know, it's just like in football, Ryan, the install leading up to the game. There's going to be some stuff that whoever has the scout is looking at and saying, you know, I think we can take advantage here, we can take advantage there. I think Aaron's right though, in that, like, you're not going to change. You can't at this point. You don't get enough practice time, especially, you know, essentially you do 2 days of practice, 2 days of game prep for an opponent, like standard procedure. So you play 2 days, you have 4 days of prep for those 2 games, and then you have to take a day off. So I don't know where, like, you know, where it fits, where you could really do a whole lot to change like who you are, what your identity is going to be offensively. I wouldn't mind personally, just from where it's at, but there is a caveat with this. I wouldn't mind seeing a little more flow, a little bit more just like free form kind of offense. Problem there is I don't know that they've got like high IQ offensive players in their heavy rotation guys. I do think, like, you know, when going back to last year, some of the stuff before CJ got hurt and what you would see in practice, like him and CMOS ran really good, like 1-2 stuff together when they were thought to be like the two guys that were going to start on the wing, because both of them are, you know, pretty high IQ guys with the ball in their hands, away from the ball. So I wouldn't mind maybe seeing a little bit more of that, and maybe you look at that like, okay, when we have CJ and CMOS on the floor together, we're going to look at a little bit more of that stuff. Connor is another guy. I know shots haven't fallen for him, but he's another high IQ guy that can function in an offense. Like, that's one of the things I always talked about him coming into the season, was he didn't need the ball a whole lot to make an impact. So maybe you lean into that a little bit more, and you do start to go a little less structure, because I know people get frustrated and say they're not running anything. They are. They're not running it well, but they are running stuff. And that generally is going to take up like 15, 18 seconds of the shot clock. So maybe, and then they go into flow. Well, right now, there's no flow when they even get into it because nobody wants the ball at the end of the shot clock. So the other thing I would like to see, Ryan, they are one of the best defensive, one of the best rebounding teams in the country. They play great defense. Why are they not running more? Why do they at times just accept that the defense is back and like, okay, well, they're back. Like, no, pressure them. Take the ball right at them. Like get downhill. Yeah. If you're not getting downhill, if you're not able to function getting downhill off of your base offense, then get the ball and go. Get it to Dylan, get it to Dan on the wings. Let them attack downhill. Day-Day's supposed to be one of the fastest guards end to end in the country, right? Mm-hmm. Beat somebody to the rim. When's the last time we saw a pass over the top to beat the defense? They don't throw them.
You know, that Landers team used to do it. You know, you remember Vic used to like doing those inbounds passes where he would throw at the length of the court and try and, get I agree. And I saw, I think you were mentioning this on Twitter, but the fact of the matter is a lot of times it is, not Troy Copain walk the ball at the court levels, but there are a handful of possessions where it is Day-Day or Jizzle, getting the ball across half court line around, 23 seconds left, 22, 21 seconds left on the shot clock. And then the offense isn't initiated until like 16 seconds or,
you're waiting
a high
for
ball
the guys
screen
to get organized.
Yeah. And then that's just too late. Yet again, I hate to say like experiment at this point, but like I do want to see some of the bench players or the players that are quote unquote coming off the bench at this point get more minutes mixed in with the starters. I like if that's possible. Obviously Day-Day does it a lot, but like lineups like you're mentioning with where it's CMOS and CJ out there together, where you're kind of just tinkering where you're not bringing in 3 or 4 bench players. And then, you're kind of having 1 or 2 starters still out there, or, can it be this guy rolls in with the starters for a handful of minutes and things roll from there. So I don't know. It just make shots, win games, please. There you go. Roy, you got another one? Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh,
great.
Pause.
All right, we need someone from Dab to get on that for us and make some edits.
Sean, the fans are allowed to throw newspaper clippings. That was a bad rumor. It was debunked. It is not true. If the student section wants to throw newspaper clippings, they can throw newspaper clippings. It's not true. Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry. Aaron.
All right.
I was just gonna say maybe the next home game they should just take the fine from the Big 12 and hit the drums after the 2 free throws they take the whole game.
Right, they're not taking any. It can't be that big of a fine.
It's true. All right. Round out with the football. Who's your favorite portal grab so far? From Scott and the gang.
Brett. McDoo.
Yeah.
Come on, you want to.
Nah. Well, yes, that was a great grab, but I mean, obviously, a lot of people probably say Tawee Walker. I still like Jeff Caldwell, if I'm going to be honest with you. Just like a tall, athletic, has already put up a good amount of stats at a wide receiver position. Xavier Henderson was awesome for what he did for the team, but having a guy that, just a weapon for Sorsby additionally with Joe Royer and I'm excited to see what he can do on the outside. I think he could really make some big time plays. So him or Tawee for me.
Aaron?
I'm going to go with Taron Tayo.
Wow. Throwback.
From Ball State. And I'm going to say this is going to sound stupid, and I don't care, but he was on my team when I was playing my NCAA season, and he won an award his senior year, and so he holds a little special place in my heart. But I just thought it was odd that all of a sudden Cincinnati ends up with this kid from Ball State. So I don't know. I'm here for it, and plus you definitely have some holes that you need to fill with some big bodies. So let's see what the kid's got.
Okay.
I think Christian Harrison's got a chance to be really good. Like him and Taden Barnes, I think that bring the two of them in together. They've got a little attitude, a little maybe give the defense a little nasty. Watching the two of them on tape, I think that's pretty evident that they're looking to get a little bit more. And Barnes is going to tone it actually back a little bit in high major football, because he did a couple things that were like, okay, man, you go and get 15 for that. You might want to, like, you're kicking the ball, you're getting a turnover, and then immediately kicking the ball into the stands, like the 30th row. It was a great kick. Like, could have used him maybe as a place kicker last year. Might want to try him out when he gets here. But Barnes and Harrison added to that safety room, I think, gives them a chance to have a little bit more attitude. It's not that I didn't think they had that last year, but Minkins was good, but he was never a guy that was like overly physical. And Canteen was a little on the smaller side. So I'd like on the back end of that defense. I don't, we talked about this leading into the season last year. I don't want my safeties making all the tackles, but when they come in the box, I want them to smoke somebody. Like I want, Derek Forrest in there smacking the shit out of somebody in the box.
Boom.
So, yeah.
Boom.
Brian Cook put the fear of God in some dudes. Like, I want to see some of that. If you're going to have 3 safeties, I want at least one and probably 2 of them to be guys that when it's time to make a play in space, they're going to make the other team think about, throwing out into the flats or trying to take advantage of, the quote unquote open spaces on the defense. Yeah. Good question, Ryan. Good question.
Royer. Hell of a question, brother.
Brent, remember what he was texting you?
Oh, shoot, chat. Do you want us to add you to our group chat?
No, I don't. I really don't.
It's me, Ryan Royer.
I'll hear about it. I like the element of surprise, so I don't want to ruin it. I like hearing it, on Monday nights.
Yeah. Well, it's me, Ryan Royer, and Alec Pierce in a group chat. Alec has never texted once in it, which is kind of strange, but he's in there and he's reading every single text. So Royer hit the line late Saturday night and was like, Brent, brother, I'm in the dumps, my friend. I'm in the dumps. And I said, me too, bro. Me too. He said, I want to get happy again. So I'm here at the bar. He was actually at you were at Mio's at this point, right? Or was it? Were you down at the Banks at the? Yeah, you were at Mio's. Yeah, and you said, you know what I ordered? And I said, what'd you order, my friend? And you said, I ordered a pina colada. And I said, wow, quite sophisticated of you, my friend. And he said, yeah. I'm envisioning that I'm on the beach, bro. Are you at home in Florida right now, Brent? And I said, no, bro, I'm in Cincy. And he said, okay, well, if you had to choose one place, one good getaway place, whether it would be a beach, whether it would be a pool, whether it would be Gatlinburg, Tennessee, whether it would be an amusement park, what is your happy place? Take me to your happy place, like Happy Gilmore. And I told you, Ryan, I said, this is a good question, bro, but let's save it for Monday. Let's turn the frowns upside down by talking about our happy place. And you said, yes, I'm going to ask everyone, hey guys, when you're sad about the Bearcats losing games back to back to back, where do you wish you could be like Happy Gilmore and go to your happy place? Where is that?
I don't know. Jamaica. Can I go to Jamaica? I haven't been to Jamaica in a while. I've always had happy times when I've gone to Jamaica. I'll go there.
Okay. I was thinking you were gonna say maybe L.A. Go back to the Playboy Mansion where you.
LA's busy. Like, it's busy. I don't. My happy place is not.
Yes,
yeah, that's
yes.
on fire right now.
And of course we're thinking of all of them. Help if you can. Definitely. Sorry, Aaron. Yes, you're right. But yeah, go ahead.
My happy place is quiet. Like, I want to be left alone. That's my happy place. I saw a resort today that these people checked into for their honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have a fourth wall. What do you think about that?
Oh, I like that.
Like, it had three, the door, and then two walls, and the bed, and then like an infinity pool, but there was no fourth wall.
How hot is it though?
I think it was in St. Bart's, so I would imagine it gets pretty hot. And also, wouldn't you worry that like you just might wake up with a visitor of like some exotic kind?
Well, Chad, I will let you know those places. They like the wall is like one of those like doors that's like all glass that you can open up all the way. So it does.
No. This place did not have a wall.
I'm telling you.
Brent, I swear to you.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then no. I unless there's a way to keep the bugs out.
I'm aware of what you're talking about, where they're like recessed into the wall, and you like get the little hook, and you can close them. No, this place did not have a fourth wall.
I'm out. I don't like bugs. I'm out.
Aaron, where's your happy? Do you have a happy place, Aaron?
I do.
Just in
right
the
now,
car, alone, driving.
Man, I tell you what, like those. Oh, I forgot to place the Kroger pickup. I'm gonna have to go to Kroger for 2 hours. I'll be back.
Maybe your upstairs porcelain. Just
do you
plop
down, pull off on the side of a country road and just like sit in the car with it idling? Like
that's the parking lot of wherever I'm going for.
Well, but if you do it on the way there,
minutes.
You're adding 10 minutes. Like, okay, I just bought another 10 minutes because I was sitting on the side of the road.
For me right now, though, my happy.
She doesn't watch this, does she? Okay, we're
my happy place is holding this little 6-month baby that I helped create, and she is so happy to see me every single. I'm pretty sure I'm her favorite human right now, and that'll change as she gets older. But right now, I'm her very favorite, and she goes bananas when I walk into a room. Her head swings around when she hears my voice, and it's amazing.
Wow, we are getting in our feels. I'm loving this. This is what happens after 4 straight losses and a 40-point performance against Kansas at home. Roy, do you want me to tell everyone what you texted me was your happy place?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said anywhere that I'm at with you, and I said, dude, come on, bro. Agreed.
Those are those post-midnight texts hitting hard, bro.
I know, man. So but weird. Did you think a little bit more about what you were thinking?
I haven't. I always have a good time when I go down to Florida, whether it be like with friends, family, or my girlfriend. So I'd say that. Yeah. I've had some good times down there. Nice, relaxing, some sun.
Yeah. I agree. I need sun, man.
We lost like 18 viewers during this question.
I'm surprised we even had 18 viewers with how bad the team's playing. The
therapy session.
That's almost company. It's almost half the points that Cincinnati scored this past game.
I like it. You know, I landed on Friday, and the snow, man. I was like, turn this plane around. I do not need this. So yes, anywhere where there's sun and the ability to have a nice cold one, if you will.
I mean, if this keeps up, like when the end of the season hits, I might be in Jamaica. Like I might just like the day after the season ends, the first day of the Big 12 conference tournament, like the next day, I'm on a plane to Jamaica.
And I will be guzzling New Riff and Cincy Light before I leave. And then when I land, I'll ask if they have it. They'll say no. And I'll say, you guys should get it. I know someone. And then we'll be able to go full circle there. So, yeah. Which is, oh, and you can have it shipped with Quick Paper Supply as well. Which is
Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They provide mostly disposable restaurant supplies, to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, to-go bags, can liners, napkins. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom, boom, boom. Aaron, I think we hop right into this mailbag, brother.
Thank God. All right. Well, starting off in the football portion, as we always do, with the 5-5 possibly coming to NCAA sports, which player do you selfishly wish could come back next year with their extra year? Also, who would benefit the most by having another season
Go ahead, boys.
at UC?
5
This is for basketball or
football.
No, Ryan. So what's going probably to happen this summer is the NCAA is going to eliminate the red shirt and make that an extra like a year of eligibility. So
I was saying that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so it's been something that's been rumored for a while, and it just kind of now is getting brought to the light. But you're going to have 5 years to play 5. So
Yeah. I think they should add a transfer rule. You can't transfer until after your second season. On top of that,
I wouldn't
That way
hate
you
that,
don't-
but it
that
wouldn't
way
hold
guys
up
can't
for-
transfer 4 times.
I don't
wouldn't
hate
hold
it,
up
but
for
these
Yeah.
they running things. Royer, who you picking here?
An extra year. Did Kiner have 5? Did he play his freshman year at LSU?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
think
he
he
would be
could have played one
No,
more
he
year.
he would have like he played 4 and 4,
Oh, okay.
so he
So
could he would
yeah.
be like someone like if this went through, he would be eligible to have his 5th year back, like he would be able to play next year.
I think that would be good. That way we wouldn't have to go out and get Tawi. We could probably have some extra money left over.
Allocate
We'd
that
have
cash.
we'd have one of the
Although
best.
I would say if Kiner
yeah,
came back,
you'd be paying him. Yeah,
he
true.
probably would a back-to-back 1,000-yard season. He would have. He would. He would.
And I'd rather have. Not saying that I'm not excited about having Tawi, but having a guy trying to go for his 3rd 1,000-yard in a row, he's solidified. And then what would benefit the most by having another? Because Sorsby, he has he's going to use. He's already on a 5-year track. Yeah,
he did redshirt.
Joe Royer redshirted. Dante redshirted. Who's even? Is Dingle? Dingle redshirted, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
I mean, most everybody. There's not a lot of dudes that haven't redshirted.
Because I was going to say,
Can't even think of that one.
Probably want Kandra back, but he did 5 years, but one of those was the COVID year. Are we completely throwing the COVID year out as well? Is this strictly the 5-5, or because COVID year, I guess you would do 6 and 6, right? I would say I would want. I mean, somehow if you can get Luke Kandra another year out of Kandra, then yes, thank you. And then who could benefit the most? I think John Williams, because I think he was on a trajectory where he had a great year, then one more season after having this great season, then all of a sudden you're getting a lot more looks because you're stringing back-to-back good years on tape. So I think
I'll stick with the offensive line. I'll go D'Artagnan.
Yeah,
because I think that the injury early kind of stunted.
Right.
I mean, I know there were people in the program that thought coming into the season he was going to have as good or a better year than Kandra.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you get hurt and you have to sit out a couple games and you got to work yourself back into form. But John Williams is a great answer. Like, I don't think people realize, and this is like when offensive linemen play well, you don't recognize them. Nobody talks shit. Think about how much shit was talked about this football team last year. Nobody said a word about John Williams.
Right.
That tells you how good and reliable he was at left tackle all year.
Yep.
I was going to
Good
throw out
question,
Derek
Mark.
Canteen.
He had another year, though, I think, and he just decided to go to the pros. I think that was the case. I think there was a chance he could have came back, and he wanted to go get that NFL deal. But he would have been nice to have back for sure.
We kind of talked about this. We kind of talked about this in New Riff. I don't know if there's anything anybody wants to add here, but what transfer filled the biggest need? What transfer are you most excited to see play?
I mean, the biggest need is anybody on the defensive line, I think. Like, they have got to do a better job getting after the quarterback. Like, have to do a better job getting after the quarterback. So, give me CJ McCray. Power 5 pedigree, Power 4 pedigree, has played. I don't know how much he's going to help as like a true edge rusher, but give me somebody that figures out a way to get to the quarterback. I'll go CJ McCray.
That's a good answer. I also liked the safety we got. Where is he from? Blanking right here.
Which one? Barnes?
Rodney Harrison's son?
Hayden Barnes?
I can't remember. Where did he transfer from?
New Mexico State.
From Tennessee?
Oh, the Tennessee transfer?
Yeah, that's Rodney Harrison's son, Christian Harrison.
Yeah, I think that's some good experience. SEC defensive back has some snaps under his belt.
Really, the only reason he lost his job is because they brought in an elite freshman that kind of over the course of the season saw his reps go up and up and up. It wasn't like a matter of the kid played poorly and got replaced. It was a matter of they brought in an NFL guy, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah,
man. But I tell you what, if you want to see Royer, go check out the highlight tape of Hayden Barnes. My dude's got some oomph to him, especially a little bit after the whistle. I'm sure he's going to have to cut that down a little bit.
He's going to chill a little bit.
But yeah.
Just a little. Not a lot. Like, you don't want him to lose that edge, but you're going to have to chill a little.
Yeah.
I think Steven Rusnak filled the biggest need because we didn't have a kicker. So now we have a kicker. That was a pretty big need there.
Fair.
But
Fair.
I think Jeff Caldwell, I'm probably most excited to see him play. That is the football portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the basketball portion. Is it time to bring out the urn? Real ones will remember.
No.
I'm not familiar with this one.
Never.
John Brannon brought out an urn.
They need a paintbrush now, but no.
A tray and a roller.
Not an excuse, just a question prompted by Cunningham's recent BCJ podcast hit. Where does UC generally stand with regard to basketball budgets in the Big 12? And is there any hope for a greater budget going forward when UC gets a full Big 12 financial share?
I believe they're in the mid, probably lower middle. Last I checked, I haven't checked it in I haven't checked it in a while, but we got lower middle, and I know people are counting on a lot more money to come in, but it's going to be going to the players. If you look at right now, that in the years leading up to the full payment, which they'll get July 1st, 2026, you're getting $19 million. and then it jumps up into the 40 range. 20 of that is going to the players. So you're still operating you're still playing catch up, I guess is a good way to put it, from the teams that have been in the league for a long time. Do I think no, I don't at the moment. Just doesn't make a whole, if they increase anything, it's probably going to be football first, and then basketball would be next in line. And I think you're still going to be a couple years from really ever like getting to that point where you're like on solid ground and you feel like, okay, we're in the club. Like we're finally in the club. Like basically they've been they've got a bracelet and they're in like the foyer, but they're not popping bottles in the club. And I think it's going to take a little time to start popping bottles. They're getting right now they're getting Moet, and everybody else in the club has got like an ace of spades. And they're not ready for an ace of spades yet. It's going to be a little while.
Please rate Cunningham's men's basketball head coach and football head coach hires as of today, scale of 1 to 10.
No.
On performance in the win and loss column, I'd have to give Satterfield a 4 and Wes a 6.
I think that's fair.
No arguments here.
Yeah.
I'll fall on the sword for us.
Well, you're Mr. Bearcat. You're allowed to. Looking for some positives. Defensive player of the game versus Kansas.
Man.
I thought Josh Reed played good defense. He had a couple blocks, but he's off. He doesn't play the whole time. But
he still gave up a handful of buckets too. I'd still say Aziz. I don't know.
It does feel like when he's not in the game, like the whole rim becomes way more accessible.
I mean, really, everybody on the perimeter did a pretty good job. Shaq Moore had a couple transition buckets, but he didn't do a whole lot. Harris was too. I'll go with Day. Harris, I'll go with Day. Harris only had 1 assist. He was 2 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. Only had 5 points. And Day was primarily like the lead point guard. So I think one of the reasons they were able to keep Kansas to 54 points is Kansas didn't really get into their stuff. And I think, I'll give Day the nod there.
All right.
Can we get a little less dead air tonight? Like we're just
Yeah.
getting dead air all over the place tonight.
Well, I think that Aaron's lagging a little bit. Because we're waiting for the next question, and then it's like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron,
all right. How many wins will it take to get an at-large NCAA bid? Would 10-10 in conference be enough? Assume they don't beat Iowa State or Houston.
I think 10-10 would do it. I mean, you're still there's one team outside the top 100 in this league.
Yeah,
and it's Oklahoma State. Like I think it would probably be. I think it would be a sweat with the way things, because it's the way it's looking right now. They're probably not going to get a Q1A win. If they're gonna do this, they're gonna have to stockpile quad 2 wins and just kind of say look, we did what we had to do. We snuck a couple out on the road, because they'll have to win at least 2 road games
Yeah.
to get back to 500, and that's if they win every remaining home game. So I'll go. I do think 10 would get them in. I think it would be a sweat. I think 11 would be guaranteed. The biggest question this year: how many teams is the SEC going to get? Because they might eat up all the they might take up what? There's 30, 34 at-large bids.
Mm-hmm.
They might get like 13 or 14 of them just in the SEC.
Yeah,
and that would be problems for everybody else.
9 teams in the AP, but also the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. So, but even still, they were only getting 4 teams total or something like that.
Yeah, and those teams are not in the SEC. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that 10 would do it because you still got to get 68 teams in there. So 10-10, you're sitting there. You just got to hope Dayton comes alive, starts winning. You got to hope that, which it sucks now to have to go back to this because we were like, oh, we got the Big 12. There's so many games. We don't really have to worry about the non-conference. But now it's like, yeah, we really have to a little bit. So I think 10-10 does get it done. That means that you're winning what? Obviously 10 more games and only losing 6 from here on out. So that's a decent stretch. And then maybe win one in the Big 12 tourney, and then you're on the right side of the bubble. But right now, let's just get a win. Let's just start with 1.
Can we get 1? Before we start talking about 10, can we get 1?
Yeah.
If you redid your pre-conference predictions, where does this team finish in Big 12 play?
Oh, man.
Ask me next Monday.
Yeah. Because
there's 2 wildly different answers today,
yeah.
Depending on what happens between now and next Saturday afternoon.
Are Kansas, Baylor, Arizona, Iowa State, Texas Tech, are they in a league of their own? You know what I mean?
Houston.
Houston. Are they literally in a league of their own? And then which means that then the teams after that, because Cincinnati has only played Kansas State out of all the rest of those teams. So then would Cincinnati be near the top of that pecking order?
Which would be West Virginia, TCU, UCF, BYU, Arizona State.
Right.
Like that group.
Yeah. So we won't know that until after this week. I mean, that Kansas State game was, the whole after a long, break, holiday break, right before the new year, fell in that weird time where games just suck, for lack of a further term. But if they win that and then they lose the next 3, what's the pulse on the team right now? You know what I mean? It's like okay, well they're still in the right spot. So I'd still say, put those rose-colored glasses on. Screw it. I'd say still top half. But not
so 7, 8, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 9. I'd say probably right there.
Well, 9 is not the top half of 16, Brent.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was thinking 18 for some reason. Yeah, so maybe bottom at the top of the bottom half. How about that?
Okay.
I say somewhere between 12 and 14.
Fair.
All right. If we lose on Wednesday in Colorado and are on the plane back, since he's sitting at 0-5 in Big 12 play, is there truly a realistic path to the dance besides winning the conference tournament?
Probably not.
Yeah, realistic.
The wheels might be on fire at that point.
Right now, the wheels are wobbling. Like the lug nuts have gone bad. Like the bolts aren't. They're like, it's the old stagecoach and the wheels are wobbling. They need to get to the junction and get a tune-up. And if they lose Wednesday night, the road gets real difficult.
Right. Realistic, probably not, but possible. Anything is possible.
they'd have to go 10-5 the rest of the way. And if you lose your first 5, the odds that you go 10-5 are pretty low.
Yeah.
Will West play the exact same starting lineup on Wednesday that scored 40 points on Saturday? The same lineup that has lost 4 straight, looking optically worse each time out. If there is a change, what will it be?
All he wants to hear us say is that Day will start over Jizzle. That's all what Killer V cares about. I think he's got a thing for Day's mom or something. Like, I don't know what, like, Day had a chance to win the point guard job Saturday against Kansas, and he didn't. He had 2 assists. He scored 3 points. Like, that. It was right there for him. If he plays well and Jizzle played like Jizzle played, I think Day is your starters Wednesday night against Colorado, but he didn't. Yeah. So he didn't seize the opportunity. So I would guess it's probably still the same starting 5.
You had one shot or one opportunity.
I mean, I still think he's probably going to play more minutes than Jizzle right now coming off the bench because I think he's better. But I think if you're going to win that job, you have to take it. Go take it.
All right. Can the defense get some love instead of just bashing our struggling offense? Is pace and solid D an intentional coach strategy for this team? We held Kansas to 54 points Saturday, lowest this year, and 52 in the Big 12 tournament last year.
I mean, solid D is definitely an intentional coaching strategy. Who doesn't love solid D? Pause. That's who they are. If they're going to win, they're going to have to play great defense. Because even if the offense starts playing better, this is not a great offense. Like, we would be foolish to make that point right now in what we've seen of this offense against every high major level opponent. This is not a great offense. They're 7th in the country in adjusted efficiency on defense, which is kind of remarkable given how bad the offense has been. You would think the offense is going to affect the defense, and you see a little bit more of what happened against Baylor creep in. But the defense has been great. It's been really, really good. They're not getting any help from the offense at all.
All right. And the last question in the basketball portion, is there a reason their tempo is even slower this year? They were 181st in tempo last year, 67.5, but are at 309th at 65.1 this season.
I think their defense is a little bit better, so that's going to affect that. Teams are going to have to grind out a little bit more, but offensively, they're just playing slow. Like, I don't understand it. Given the struggles that they've had in the half court, like, these guys have to understand you've got to get more easy baskets. Although I will say, they've been better this year at converting in transition than they have been in the past. I want to see more of it. If you're going to if defense and rebounding are going to be your thing, then get the ball off the rim and go and try to take advantage against a non-set defense, because set defenses have been a real problem for this team right now.
Yeah, I think
real problem.
That's probably something that opposing teams notice, is that, hey, if we can get set and force them to face us in half-court offense, their half-court offense, then that's a better chance for us to win and hold them to literally nothing offensively. So I think that's something that teams are trying to do. And then I do think it is a lack of confidence thing overall, a lack of just having a true guy that's just, I mean, like Sean Abayev, cannot wait to see in a Bearcat uniform. And then, so teams are just scheming against that. And when you do that, you got to play slow and grind it out to get point production. So that's why tempo's down.
That ends the basketball portion of the mailbag. Last question comes from the Banks. It's a Bengals question. In retrospect, which Bengals loss most impacted the season beyond costing us the one win we needed to make the playoffs at 10-7? A, New England. 16-10 in week 1, the Mike Gesicki game. B, Kansas City 26-25 in week 2, the 4th and 16 penalty game. C, Baltimore game 1, 41-38 in week 5, the missed field goal game. Or D, Baltimore game 2, 35-34 in week 10, the blown penalty call game. I go E, retaining Zach Taylor as your coach.
I go F, get this fucking question out of here. or give a fuck.
I go
It's probably
G,
Kansas City.
all of the above.
It's probably Kansas City. If you beat Kansas City in week 2, I would guess the mojo is a little different than what we
Ravens
saw.
game was insane too.
I would say the first Ravens game with the missed field goal, like
with
might
three
even two,
10-point leads, 10-point leads in the second half.
Just make that field goal and you're in the playoffs. Just one, like I know that you mentioned one play for all of those, but that's the one play that you have the most control over. Just do it.
Just
That's
kidding,
the mailbag.
Killer V. I didn't want to sound like an asshole. You know, my allegiance lies with the dog.
Bearcats
pound,
North.
So.
That's the mailbox.
mailbag.
Get us out of here, Brent. Yeah.
Get us out of here.
Mailbag, get us out of here, Brent. Okay. Aaron, you are lagging, my brother. But hey,
I already said it.
Okay. Well, hey guys, guess what? There's a big game on Wednesday night, Chad. So what is the BCJ pod doing?
Probably Thursday, if I had to guess.
Okay.
I'll talk to Dave. We'll come up with a plan, but I would guess Thursday.
Colorado Buffaloes. Nick Saban's next location as head coach of the football team. Watch out there. Going to be pretty crazy to see Saban in the Big 12.
He's getting announced with that game.
Yeah, that's right. But
Deion's got to take Dallas first.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's right. I'll dust off my Deion Sanders Dallas Cowboys jersey if he goes there and throw it on for the next pod. But you know what, guys? Shouts to everyone. Shouts to Danco Transmission out of here. Shouts to Cincy Light here in the Cincy Light studio. Shouts to New Riffing with Royer, my favorite segment in the world. Shouts to Quick Favorite Supply for supplying all of our beautiful timestamps. But huge game Wednesday. The only way to fix things when they're going down the way that they are is by winning. So beat Colorado at Colorado, ESPN Plus at 9 p.m. Let's start a win streak. Why not, guys? But
Dan, this team's gonna score.
Oh, come on, we need it. But for my guys, for everyone, for Aaron Smith, for Chad Brendel, for Ryan Royer, I am Brent Young. Again, another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.